All right, friends, this one we had to sit down for, and it's not because the numbers are so high that they were going to knock us over, but I was also getting tired of holding the camera when we were up in the woods. So this episode today is going to be our budget. We are planning our trip to go to South Carolina, where we're headed to Huntington Beach State Park and Grayson Highlands, like we told you last week. And so we wanted to get an idea for how much things were going to cost, and then we wanted to help you guys when you're planning your trips, because obviously, given the current state of things with the economy, you know, money can be an issue, fuel prices are an issue, and we're going to talk about that stuff now. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so last year our Tennessee trip, I'll tell you the total amount, but I'm not going to really break it down item by item, just maybe by category. So our total, we spent about $1,200 for our 10-day trip. That does not include the groceries I bought to stock the camper before we left, but it does include any food and groceries we bought while we were down there.
Yeah, and
so it's not all inclusive.
When it comes to food, I have a hard time including that in the price of a trip, just because you're going to eat whether you're home or whether you're someplace else.
Yeah.
Now, if you're eating out on a trip when you wouldn't otherwise do that at home, then I figured that is an expense. We almost never eat out when we're home, mostly because the kids,
Not really good at it.
Yeah, it's just a hassle.
So, but anyway, our categories are gas, campground, food, which would be eating out, and any special treats and groceries we bought while we were out there, recreation, and souvenirs. So our gas was about 43.5% of our budget. We spent about $540 in gas, and that's total from leaving our house to Tennessee to North Carolina and everything in between until we got home.
So friends, if you're driving a gas-powered vehicle and you're towing, obviously that's not the strong point. Of course, a diesel, you get better mileage, but diesel fuel is more expensive. Now, we use Gas Buddy in order to find the cheapest gas along the way, and I'm also running E15 any place I can get it, so it is cheaper, and I haven't noticed any kind of difference in economy. So that's kind of what we're doing and where we're at when it comes to gas, and obviously the length of your drives influences, but gas I think is the biggest part of the budget when it comes to RVing.
Obviously 43.5%, that's the bulk of it. The next category is the campground, which is about 30% of the budget. We spent about $380 total.
Which I feel like that's pretty good for...
I think that's reasonable for 10 days.
For 10 days. And should note that we did stay at a Cracker Barrel parking lot our first night. And that was kind of in the plan from the get-go. So take advantage of that kind of stuff when you can to avoid paying for an extra night of camping. That's, $40 worth of savings.
I would like to point out, though, that if you do that, they tend to encourage you to eat one meal at the Cracker Barrel. So is it free if you pay for a meal? So I do have that line item. We spent $40 at the Cracker Barrel for breakfast for 4 of us. So
it's still not bad. So it equates to about
like a night at a campground.
A night at campground, or you could say you're paying for the night at the campground, but you get a free breakfast. Either way, it does work. And then, of course, on the way home, we stopped at a national park campsite with no hookup, and that was only $20 for the night. So that's even cheaper, essentially. So use those types of things to your advantage. I think when we head north this fall, we are going to try to do some sort of Cracker Barrel or something. Stay tuned for that. We have to figure a lot of things out when it comes to that trip yet. But I also think when we go to South Carolina, we might be boondocking or something someplace along the way.
Yeah, that's like a 9 to 10 hour drive, so we're going to want to break that up.
Yes. So, all in all, though, what was it, $300?
$380. Almost
so,
$400.
I mean, you got to figure hotels nowadays, they're like over $100 a night easily. Mm-hmm. So if you were to spend 10 days hotel adventuring or whatever, you're looking at easily $1,000 in fees for a nightly charge. So,
and that's not counting your food.
Yes, of course, then you wouldn't have to tow the RV and spend $600 in gas. So I feel like they're about even to some degree when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think we made out better, but that's just me. I would prefer an RV over a hotel room any day.
Well, with kids and dogs, yes, absolutely.
All right, next category is the food category, and this I will kind of run through what we did. So I will run through the food real quick because we did say that it's not groceries, so I will tell you what it is. We went to Buc-ee's, so we had to get beaver nuggets at Buc-ee's. And
and I should add though, if you can, it's probably best to stock up on groceries at home before you leave, just because you're going to save money, generally speaking, if you shop at home versus shopping at these touristy locations such as the Smoky Mountains, because groceries are going to be
or
more money.
When you shop at home, you can go by yourself, and when you shop for groceries elsewhere, you have to take your children and your husband with you, and they see all the snacks and think they need all the snacks. So you're going to spend more on snacks.
Yeah, but camping without snacks is like...
But all the snacks. I think we could do without all the snacks.
No, you need snacks. The beaver nuggets, those were good.
Those were good.
We need to find... Buc-ee's needs to move to Pennsylvania. That's what needs to happen. But we're going to Buc-ee's. And then she's going to know what Buc-ee's is. Plus, we need gas. So, Buc-ee's is where we're going to get gas. And I need one of those shirts that says, I'm just here for the snacks.
Oh, that would be awesome. I want one of those. Anyway, so yeah, we got snacks at Buc-ee's. We went to Cracker Barrel. We had that for breakfast. We did ice cream. We did go out to eat once. Let's see what else. Oh, and we got Krispy Kremes. So, yum.
More snacks.
More snacks.
You gotta, I mean, it is a vacation, or at least for us, so you gotta treat yourself to some nice things while you're out that you wouldn't do while you're at home. So you save money some places and you spend it in others. I still feel like $1,200 for this total trip is a steal for a 10-day adventure, especially given what we got to do.
Our next category would have been recreation, and we'll kind of maybe run through this as well to give you an idea of what that means. But first, recreation was 12% of our budget, and we spent $155 on it. So what I included in that category was a day area use fee, which was
Whiteside Mountain?
That was Whiteside Mountain for parking.
Man, you can see everything from here. It's crazy. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
So what else it must have been was JL Ranch. So we did an excursion as a family, and we went horseback riding.
We are now at JL Ranch. This is over near Dollywood. It's actually right next to Dollywood. And we're going to do a horseback ride. They have a lot of other activities here, though. Mommy, what do you think?
I'm excited. It's been a long time since I've ridden a horse. It's been a long time. 10 years or so.
So day area use fee, which is like $3, and the trail ride, which is $131. No, there's something else in there. So, we did 2 recreation things, excursion things that we had to pay for. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the thing, like we could have went to Dollywood, and that would have really jacked up the recreation. But at the same time, the kids aren't quite old enough to ride things, and we couldn't ride things without them unless we went by ourselves. So I don't think that would have been as fun as it was whenever I was there in the past.
And the water park was closed in October, so it's not like we could have gone there. So
that kind of stuff is pricey these days. So it's easier to just go hiking, which is free, and I feel like we enjoyed that just as much.
Yeah, that was fun. And so our last category here is souvenirs. We spent about $50, which makes it 4% of our budget. So that was, that's self-explanatory. It's souvenirs. We got some things at the national park.
I've got it right here.
There it is.
The Great Smoky Mountains National Park t-shirt. So as far as the shirt goes, if you're buying souvenirs, in my opinion, it's better, especially in a place like Pigeon Forge, I didn't want to go to one of them touristy souvenir shops. I wanted to make sure the money that I spent went to the National Park Service and towards conservation. And so, you know, I bought the shirt, and I think you bought something at one of the Smoky Mountains National Park.
Sarah got quite a few things. So Sarah's grandparents gave her some money, some spending money, and boy did she ever go wild.
She got a blanket with a map of the Smoky Mountains on it. I'll try to get some footage or something of it.
She got a cup. She got a fox. She got something else. I don't remember what else, but she maybe a keychain. I don't know. Oh no, she got a magnet. We got a couple magnets too.
But yeah, I think supporting conservation is better than some janky store along the highway or whatever, Pigeon Forge. If you want to know more about that, check out our playlists. The North Carolina stuff, which is the first part of the trip, is obviously under North Carolina, and Tennessee under Tennessee. And all of those are broken up by states, so if there's any places you're interested in going, you can look it up in the state-by-state playlists on the channel. Do we have anything else as it relates to this? What are we doing this, like, how is this year going to compare to next?
Well, the only thing that we know at this time is the amount we spent on campgrounds, because those are both state parks. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. You have to pay for your state park stays in full. So private campgrounds, they usually ask for a deposit and then you pay the rest when you get there. But state parks, you have to pay for everything up front. So we're doing 2 state parks this year. So it's already paid for. And we are going to be spending $460 in total this year, which is almost $100 more than last year.
Last year we had full
similar
hookup.
Trip. Right. We had full hookup last year. We do not this year.
So sometimes you'll get full hookups at state parks. It's not always that you don't, but generally, especially with this, because we are moving and stuff, you know, we can do without, and it is cheaper, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I guess what I was trying to say, though, is there are some deals when it comes to mom and pop campgrounds. We experienced that a good bit last year with the My Mountain campground, and then the other one in Tennessee, that wasn't too bad. But then the one we did in Durban, West Virginia, that was only like $37 a night.
I really like that one.
So, and then this place we found for our trip up north, you know, there's some snafus when booking mom and pop campgrounds too, though, getting them on the phone and things like that. State parks is nice because it's usually online and it's easy to book.
So, but yeah, the only thing we know for this year so far is the campground total. Gas is going to be, we don't know.
I mean, fuel right now is priced about the same as it was when we went. It's kind of stable. And I have to imagine to South Carolina, it's going to be a similar amount of miles with as much circling around as we did in Tennessee, because we went to Fall Creek and then we went way back to North Carolina and then we went back to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I would imagine fuel is going to be about the same. And groceries have gone up, so that might go up some.
Groceries, but food in general, it's going to be a little bit different because he likes to eat seafood. Well, so we're not going to be able to get away with not going out to eat at least once or twice at the beach for seafood, which is always more expensive than normal food.
But that's why you go to the beach.
So, but I would like to say we don't know all of the totals, like all of the other ones except for the campground for this coming year, but we do know what we did last year. So we can use that as kind of like a limit for ourselves. I like what we spent last year. I think it was very appropriate and very reasonable. So we can use those numbers from last year to kind of guide our spending as far as souvenirs and recreation and food. Gas is just going to be what it is going to be. We can't control that. So.
Well, you got to get there and you got to get home. Sometimes I'd like to stay there and not go home, but...
So it would be nice to use these numbers as kind of a budget setting limit for us to say, oh, well, we spent, $154 on recreation last year. Let's not spend more than $150 this year. Or we spent $100 on food last year. Let's not go over that this year. Or since we do know we're going to the beach and somebody likes to eat seafood, maybe we say, well, we can put an extra $50 to that and take that out of the recreation or the souvenir.
Are we going to be gone for the same amount of time? Is it still 10 days?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah, but this is something I plan to do for the foreseeable future. Every year we'll have, one big trip. So it's going to be interesting to track this over the course of several years.
Yeah, if you have any questions about it, please let us know down in the comments. I know I said that several videos ago and no one said anything, so I don't know if you weren't interested in this topic or...
you're just waiting to see what we came up with.
Let us know if you're totally disinterested in this. Let us know that in the comments too. I take constructive criticism, so...
I'm going to still track it even if you guys don't want to hear about it. I just won't tell you about it.
We just won't tell you about it. But what I will tell you is in next week's episode, we're going to be prepping the RV for the season, and we also bought a generator, so there's some cool stuff coming up that we're going to show you in the next 2 weeks. Everybody in the family is finally feeling reasonably healthy again, and spring is here, and so finally we are getting to go on a trip. So if our trip didn't happen, I'll cut this part out of the video, but if you're hearing it, we actually went on our camping trip this past weekend, so that's exciting, and of course that'll be coming up in probably like 3 weeks or so, because I think there's 2 or 3 episodes between this and our trip. But we're doing more boondocking. We got some exciting historical adventure coming up in our first trip of the year, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you next week.